Hello and welcome to the last part of this tutorial, which happens to be more of animation, and we are going to solve questions 6 and 7 in this part. So let's dive right in. The question reads, in an animation application, set the canvas size to 500 by 400. Open demo SWF in your browser or suitable player. You are required to create a similar animation. Okay, so I have opened mine in my Flash player, and the demo gives us a preview of how our work should go like. First, you have this text rotating on the x-axis, and the third one just moving into place, and then you have images sliding to the right, taking 3 seconds each. So let's dive back into the question. First, we need to work on the background. It will transition over 7 seconds from light blue to the last color that we have been given. So you realize that for each color you've been given an RGB code which we are to go by. So right, let's go into animate. As the question said, we have to create a new stage. If you go to file, go to new document, and in the details panel here we change our dimension from 500 to 400, some pixels. Action script, select action script. Frame rate is 30 frames per second, that's okay, and then click create. Now go to the top here and ensure that your stage is fit to window, then you can have a full view of how your stage looks like. And the next thing we are required is to import our frame and fit it to our stage. So I'm going to go into file, import, import to library. Let's import it to library first. Look for our P frame, that's it, the one we solved in a previous part, I think in the first part. Right, it's imported. So now you go to the top right corner here where you see library and select your work and then drag and drop it on the stage. Before you continue, make sure your workspace, this is where I select my workspace, is on basic so that you can follow what I'm doing as well. You can select workspaces from the Windows menu as well. You click on Windows and go way down here and select basic. Now let's resize our P frame to fit the stage. So we can go into properties and do that by increasing the width. Ensure that this padlock is open, not locked. So I'm going to stretch it a little bit, and then let's increase this to 7 or even 660. And drag it. Do the same thing for the height, and let's go to align, and then come back to properties, increase the size, go to align, align vertical. I think we are good to go. Now the next thing is to create the background, but first let me rename this layer as frame and we are going to work on the background that has to transition over 7 seconds. So I'm going to go into 7 seconds, look for 7 seconds on the timeline over here, and just insert a frame. So it means even on the 7-second mark your frame still appears. And let's create a new layer here that will hold the background. So I'm going to go into my tools on the left and select the rectangle tool, and I'm going to draw across the stage so that it fits. So at this first keyframe we have this red background. So let's go into properties, select the layer, and come to fill color here. Now select this palette you see here, click on it once, and now you have the option to enter the RGB code that you were given. So for the light blue you were given 100 255 255. Fine. So you have you have light blue, after which it should transition to pink. So you come to like 3.5 seconds, which is between the 3 and the 4, and insert a keyframe. Now go back to properties, select make sure your background is selected, and change the fill. Let's go back to that palette again, and now change the second one is 250 150 200. Correct. So we have our pink. Now we have to go to the last one and insert keyframe. So for the last one we select our background again, open the switch or the color picker, and enter the code 210 50 50 and click OK. So we have all the three colors. Let's do a test. So over the 7 seconds you see the colors changing. Now the question says it must transition, so it means there should be a smooth transition between these colors. So to enable us to do that, we have to add a tween in between each keyframe. So to do that, I'm going to right click in between here and create a shape tween, because we designed a shape. So that's why I'm selecting shape tween. So if you just play just this, you see it transitions smoothly to the pink. So likewise for the ending part, I right click in between here and create a shape tween as well. So this time around we go to control and test. So you have it transitioning smoothly to the last color. So we are done with the first part of the question. So let's go to the layers panel and drag the frame in front. So there you go. Good. Let me move the frame a little bit. Good. Let's go back to our question. And it says the text Mediterranean sunset must take 3 seconds to ride to the position shown whilst flipping on a horizontal axis. So for the text, we have to create a new layer. Pick our type tool, and this time I'm going to copy and paste. Now the question says we should find a font that is similar to what is shown here, with a size of 30 and color red. So I'm going to select something similar. Mono. I think this is similar. And color red. The size 30. So we have our text. Next thing we want to do is to convert this text to a symbol. So we just right click, convert to symbol, can name it text 1, make sure it's a movie clip, and click OK. Now since we are going to be moving the text, we have to apply a motion tween. So we go to Insert, Create Motion Tween. Then you realize that you have this yellow layer. Now select your text, bring it down, go to Align, ensure that it is horizontally centered. Now go to your 3-second mark and drag your text up in a single motion. So we have this. Now we want to rotate this animation at the same time. So from our toolbar on the left, I will pick my 3D rotation tool, or Shift W. Click on the text once, still ensuring that the head plane or the head is on the 3-second mark. I look for the x-axis because the text is going to rotate on the x-axis. So when you see X, you see when I move it to this side, I see Y, and over here Z. So we are rotating on the x-axis. So what I'll do is gently keep rotating till it makes one full turn. I was looking at the demo video, you could see that it made one full turn and came back to its normal position. So like this. Cool. So when I play back, I have one full turn. That's it. Now notice that when I'm doing the rotation, I do it bit by bit, I don't turn it in a full circle. So we are done with the first text, and now we are moving on to the second one. So for that, we are going to create a new layer. And enter our text. Before we enter our text, let's go to the 3-second mark, right click, and insert a blank keyframe, and then you pick our type 2 and type a second text. Now we align it to the center and convert it to a symbol. Now we look at its layer. That's from the 3-second mark to the 7th. Right click on that portion of the layer and create a motion tween. Now at the 3-second mark, the text is supposed to be down here, now coming up into position. So at the 5-second mark, which is 2 seconds after the first text has arrived, we move our text into position. So we have a smooth movement of the second text. Now we need to do some rotation as well. So we bring it back to where it begins. Pick the rotation tool, click on it, and we try to rotate it upside down. Now we bring it to where it's going to end and rotate it gradually back up like this. So we have the movement for the second one. Now I can rename that layer to A1, and then now let's deal with the final piece of text. Go back to the question. It says, at Cambrdige gallery must then take 2 seconds to rise to the position shown without any rotation. So that one just comes straight in. So let's check from our animation on how that one works. So you have the first one, the second one coming in, and that one just comes in slowly. Let's take a look again. First text, second, then third. So back here, we insert a new layer. That one also take 2 seconds to arrive. Let's see if it stays for a while. Before the images start coming in. So immediately it arrives, the images start coming in. So we can start from the 5-second mark, or we can start from the 4-second mark and end at the 6. So to do that, we place our playhead on the 4-second mark, right click and insert a blank keyframe. Now from there, it's at that point. Okay, now let's be on the safer side. I think let's put it on the 5-second mark instead. Yes, and then we type, no, let me go there and just copy it and come and paste. At Cambrdige gallery. Okay, this must be black, so you go into properties and change it to black. Now let's align it to the center, right click and convert it to symbol. Make sure it's a movie clip and click OK. Now we click on its layer and create a motion tween. So it starts from here somewhere at the bottom and ends on the 7-second mark. So all we do is just drag, so we get here, somewhere here, and that ends it. Now before we are done, we need to bring the frame in front of all the layers. Let me rename this to gallery, and then let's run a test. Okay. So we are done with question 6. Now let's move on to the last part, which involves the images that we need to add in a slideshow format. Now it says the olive JPEG image must then enter the frame from the left to fill the frame in 3 seconds. Repeat the process with headland and the bay images. Each image must take 3 seconds to fill the frame. The animation must restart from the beginning. Save the animation as an animated GIF. File named artwork followed by your center number underscore candidate number example. So an example has been given here. So between the 8th, 9th and the 10th second, this image olive JPEG must fill the frame. So we are going to go back into animate and do some importing. To go to file, import to library. So we have olive, we have headland, and we have bay. Then when I look at the library, you have them all here. So what is going to happen is we are going to extend our work for another 3 seconds. So what you can do is go to the last layer, hold shift, go to the very top layer, so you have everything selected, right click and then just say insert frame. So what it does is after your animation is done, it holds the frame for you so that for the next 3 seconds our image can be introduced. So I'm going to create a new layer, and insert a blank frame. Because this is where I want my image to start from, so that's why I'm inserting a blank frame. Else it might start from here, which is not necessary. You want it to start from here. So I'm starting with the olives. So I'm going to drag that onto that layer, onto the selected layer, and place it somewhere just outside the frame. Now I can convert this to a symbol, name it olive, make sure it's a movie clip, and then create a classic tween, or let's create a motion tween instead. So I bring it to the 10-second mark and then drag my image into view. So when I play this back, I should have this. Nice. Now another 3 seconds, we're going to repeat the process for the next image. So on the 13 mark, hold shift, insert frame, just frame, so it holds the olive image at where it is, and create a new layer on top of this one. So let me rename this to olive layer, create another one which should be on top of that one, come to the 10-second mark where it's going to start from, because it needs just 3 seconds to appear, and I insert a blank keyframe. Now on that same layer, as that same layer is selected, let's check which image should come next. Headland. So I pick headland from the library and I drop it on top of that layer. Then I place it just outside the frame as I did for the previous one. Convert it to a symbol. Can name it headland. Create a motion tween on the layer. Bring the playhead to the end, to the 13 mark, and drag it into view. Now repeat the same process for the last one. Come to the, from 13 we go to 16, yeah. Hold, click the first layer, hold shift, click the last one, so you have everything selected. Right click, insert frame, come back to the 13-second mark, create a new layer, insert a blank keyframe, pick our last image, drop it on the layer and send it just outside the frame. Convert it to a symbol, bay, create a motion tween, and drag. Now our frame has to be in front of all of them, so I'm going to select the frame layer and drag it on top of everything. Now I can go to control and then we test our animation. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's okay, so I think we are done. Next thing we need to do is to export it as an animated GIF, but before doing that I will need to, it's advisable to always save your work. save the animation as an animated GIF followed by your candidate and center number. I'm going to use this to save it as the project file, so that in case you can't get your, or in case we can't get the animated GIF, we still have the project file. It's always important to save the project file as well. And then we go to File, Export Animated GIF. Still loading. Okay, so make sure this is on GIF. If you're okay with everything, you can press enter. So it gives you the GIF format. I have my file name as it is, and then I just click save. Let's go back to our folder and check if it has truly saved our work. There we have it. So I'm playing it back. So that ends it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, you can leave them in the comments section, and make sure to like and subscribe for more tips and tricks. So until we meet next time, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.